Hey everybody, it's Eric, 80s Horror Man here, and welcome to day 28 for my 31 Days of Horror. Today, I'll be doing a movie that was done in 1979, and and I love this franchise, even though I love the Evil Dead because the Evil Dead movies are my favorite horror franchise of all time, and also Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Chucky, Hellraiser, all sorts. I love all sorts of franchises, but I also love this one as well because this is actually a very fun franchise to watch, and that's Phantasm. Now, Phantasm, this movie is basically about where you got three friends, where you got two brothers and an ice cream vendor who tried to put a stop to the tall man, as they call him. Now, the tall man is he's just this tall, lanky kind of guy. And he just ends up stealing corpses out of the cemetery and just kind of ends up crushing them down to like about 3 feet in size. So he has like these little henchmen called dwarfs. So he kind of ends up stealing their corpses out of the cemetery and just kind of crushing them down to about 3 feet to like the size of a dwarf so he could have them as his henchmen. But also, the tall man has got these flying little silver spheres. Here's it. They just fly around, and next to if they see a certain person, those little silver spheres just come flying at you, and they got like little daggers that come out to you. Here, come out and just poof, go right to your head and start drilling away into your head, and you see blood spurting out the back of the sphere. The soundtrack is actually pretty good. It's very recognizable and very familiar. Um, I also thought all the characters that did an amazing job in this movie along throughout the rest of the franchise. And I thought Don Coscarelli, who created the Phantasm movies, just did an amazing job on this franchise. And yeah, I did end up meeting the cast of Phantasm and Don Coscarelli himself 2 years ago at the ScareCon event in Rochester. Got their autographs and pictures taken with them as well. So, where this movie might be a little bit weird and confusing to some people, like for some first timers that's getting ready to watch this movie, they may not be able to understand exactly what's going on. But if you just pay real close attention to it, you might be able to understand exactly what is going on. Because in the rest of the franchise, it gets a little bit weirder and a little bit more confusing at times. But if you just watch the first one, the one that started it all, then you might be able to understand it on how the movie is and everything. So, where I mean, all the Phantasm movies are good. I like all of them, but if I had to choose my favorite Phantasm, it would be number two, because that's like my favorite one, and I just love the ending theme music to that film. But I also love it when Reggie Bannister's character ends up creating the four barrel shotgun, where he just takes two 12 gauge double barrels and just takes them apart, just puts them together. So that's like a very cool weapon to have that he ends up using later on in the franchise. So overall, out of a possible 10, I give this movie a 9 out of 10 because this movie is just so much fun to watch. The franchise is just amazing. And like I said, the soundtrack is just very good and very recognizable because once you hear that certain melody of that tune, it could actually get stuck in your head and you just be playing it along like in your head, in your mind. So Phantasm, I definitely recommend checking out for those who hasn't seen it, but for those who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So watch the first one before you go watching the rest of the franchise because if you end up going into like Phantasm 2, 3, or whenever, or you're just going to get confused and you don't know what the hell's going on. So you got to watch the first one to understand it all, because this is the one that started it all. So you got to watch this one just to understand it, the whole thing. So again, 9 out of 10 for the first Phantasm. Love the Phantasm franchise, and I love the music to the film as well. Alright guys, so that's my review for day 28 for my 31 Days of Horror. What do you guys think? Have you seen this movie before? Have you seen all the Phantasm franchises? If so, which one is your favorite Phantasm franchise that you like? Because like I said, part 2 is my favorite one, even though I like all of them, but part 2 is definitely my favorite one, most of all. Alright guys, so like and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for some more videos. Later.